Hi everyone, today we got a pretty significant dip here, sold off aggressively, looked like we were going to continue to kind of accelerate through these levels, and then we flipped it in the middle of the session, reversing all of that, finishing almost unchanged on the session. Can we get a continuation through? Is this going to be somewhat of a structure in here? Let's take a look at all of the charts as we head into the weekend. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. In news today, we still have more government shutdown, nothing really else in the news today, so let's hear it. They offered another so-called clean resolution bill, this one coming from the Democrats, but they are still trying to push for that healthcare subsidy that was pushed over the last couple years. It was supposed to be a short-term subsidy, which is why they're going to have to extend it now, otherwise it's going to expire. And Republicans, of course, do not want to do that. It was supposed to be a short-term relief, but now they're trying to make it more permanent, as the government seems to do. And of course, like I said, Republicans don't want to do that. So still at an impasse, really no movement here, but at least there's a little bit of something. There's a little bit more discussions, at least something coming out of Congress. But this seems to revolve around that Affordable Care Act credit. Moving over to fear and greed, we're at a 21 from a 23, so the metric did go down, even though markets really did not move a whole lot today. Still fear on momentum, extreme fear on strength, and breadth. Breadth continues to deteriorate, but it did find a little bit of strength there. Put call ratio continuing to elevate. This is going to be a low, higher low, and looks like a high, higher high getting ready to form there. Volatility spiked up and then came back down, and then you can see safe haven demand still neutral there. Junk bond demand still neutral here as well. And then looking at safe haven demand, still fear, and then junk bond demand, still extreme fear. Moving over to the charts here, you can see that dip low here. You can see we managed to stay positive on the day. Crazy. Big, wide-ranging day. At one point, we were down about 1.33% to finish up 0.1%. That level was 667, hit that 55 EMA. That was kind of the zone we were watching. We hadn't touched that in a while, so there's still a little bit more weakness here than there was previously, but decent volume coming through on that buy. We're drifting a little higher after hours. My guess is that we're going to get a pretty substantial follow through on the Monday, Tuesday. Maybe we hover for Monday and then get the continuation Tuesday. Then you got these zones of resistance in here, that 9 EMA in there around 679, and then this kind of same area, 679, 680 or so. My level there, 680. So a couple of zones to watch, but I think this should have some follow through into the Monday. Moving over to the Tasty charts here, you can see on the SPY charts, hit that trailing stop, 665.12, hit the 55 EMA, bounced from those levels and stayed in bullish conditions. We're still kind of lower, right? You can see this is still drifting lower, but you do have a low, higher low here. Waiting to see if we get a lower high. That's going to be terrible. So for now, this looks slightly bullish to me on the retracement, the expectation of that. Of course, everything on the short time frames continues to be bearish though. Hit that lowest band as we expected it would, and then rallied back up, back above the 9. Could be like this, right? You hit this zone, rally up just a little bit, and then continue the sell. I think we'll get a little bit more out of that though. Moving over to the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ still finished a little bit negative, down 0.33%, but again, in that after hours, we're drifting higher, finishing slightly positive there in the after hours. The low from yesterday at the close was 611.67, right at the level, and you can see 612.14 drifting higher here. So looks like we're going to get a little bit more bullishness. Do we get to that kind of 55 EMA area around 615.92 or so? We'll see. Good volume on the session, on the bounce, hit that 55 to the penny pretty much. The low was 598.67. The 55 was there at 598.53, so just barely missed it, but really, really close. Hit the trend line, bounced from there. So definitely some buyers coming in, definitely aggressive. You can see a lot of volume on the session. Big volume sell, big volume buy. It'll be interesting to see how much legs this has as we head into the Monday, Tuesday. Moving over to the NASDAQ, you can see tag that level, tag the lowest band. This is the 4-hour chart. Still very much bearish conditions on all of the short time frames. Got very, very close to that 1-hour trailing stop right now, 612.78. We'll see if that drifts through there and starts to flip to bullish conditions. You can see last time on the rally, we hit the upper band, flipped to bullish conditions, and then we immediately broke down and went much lower. So still very much a downtrend on the short term, but there's a chance this flips to bullish here just for a little bit. If we rally as much as last time, that would take you to the 144 here on the hourly, which is currently sitting up at 619. That would be really, really aggressive. I don't think we'll get that much of a rally, but certainly a possibility. And then looking at that daily chart, just like the SPY charts, got really, really close to closing below that trailing stop. The trailing stop there is 608.87, closed at 609.75, so super close, got way below it. We were bearish conditions for a long time, but look at that volume coming in, buying on the volume. You would expect a rally out. If we did get the massive continuation to that upper ATR band on the daily chart, that would take you all the way up to 645.70. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, same thesis really as everything else. Dipped a lot, took out this low here, way below the 55, way below my level, 238, and then ended up rallying up and closing positive, up 0.5% on the Russell. Crazy, back above that 241 level at 241.61, and then the Dow, same thing, fell, hit the trend line, didn't hit the 55 here, and then rallied up, closing positive, up 0.12. Moving over to the Mag 7, same kind of thesis, again closing negative, down a little bit more than everything else, down 0.76 on the day, hitting that level 357.91 as we suspected that it would. I thought we might close below it just on how big the selling was, but ended up rallying, closing more like a left shoulder head, right shoulders forming. We could get a rally up to this area. If we did get a rally to there, that would be about 5%. Hit that right shoulder zone, and then if we get the bigger continuation after that to the downside, that's going to be catastrophic. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple moved basically nothing today, down 0.5% in the same consolidation range that we've been in for basically 2 trading weeks at this point. Momentum slightly bearish, RSI slightly bearish, and then you got Microsoft finishing pretty much unchanged on the day, down 28 cents. Thought we would hit that 144 there at 487. Didn't quite get there. The low of day was 493, so we came up just a couple of dollars short, which was pretty much in line with this September low. This still looks like a big topping pattern to me. Clear double top, kind of midpoint in here. I think it'll take a while for these to kind of catch up, but then I do think this is going to correct quite a bit. There's still some big gaps left on Microsoft. I don't necessarily believe that we'll go back down and fill those in the near term, but keep that in mind. There is a big gap down there to that kind of 394 area. Moving over to NVIDIA and Tesla, you can see Tesla was down 3.68%. NVIDIA doing what everything else did. It dipped all the way down to 180 and then bounced to 188, so wide-ranging candle. From top to bottom, that was about 4, almost 5%. What a big day for NVIDIA. Dipping to that area, buyers coming in as you would expect, buying up on NVIDIA. This looks like a round-trip move now, which typically is a pretty bullish pattern. Be watching this one closely, but I would suspect this is going to be pretty aggressive to the bull side. Something I'm going to watch here on the Monday. Moving over to staples and discretionaries. We talked about staples looking pretty bullish and bouncing off of that 75.40 level. We said this was key support. We had the step to bullish over the last 2 days on the momentum, and now we got a nice aggressive push there, looking for 77.50. I think this will go at least to the 21 EMA at 77.94. And then we'll see what happens after that. Either way, momentum bullish, RSI bullish, volume coming in at this kind of pivot point. And then looking at discretionaries, still a pretty clean double top, held the trend line here. Went lower than we saw on the 30th, but didn't get as low as what we saw in kind of mid-October timeframe. Moving over to breadth. Breadth looks really, really good here, pushing aggressively 18% and 14%-ish. To the bull side, momentum stepping bullish, RSI stepping bullish. For me, everything says pretty bullish here for the next couple of days, probably pretty aggressively bullish. So this confirms that thesis. Momentum bullish, everything looks good on breadth. Moving over to the dollar. Dollar did continue to fall, unfortunately, through that 144, through that 200 SMA on the hourly chart and the 9 EMA here on the daily chart. 21 is still potential support there at 99.16. I suspect that'll hold. That's been the support over the last couple of turns. Maybe it falls and retests this 144 here. Wouldn't love to see that, but either way, I still think this will hold a higher low eventually. Moving over to the VIX. The VIX spiked all the way up to a 22.72. I'm honestly a little surprised that we reversed course. I thought this would continue up to that kind of 28 area, and I'm not really officially, and I'm not all the way confident that we're done right now. You can see the momentum is slightly bullish, the RSI is still slightly bullish, so just keep in mind this could absolutely continue to turn bullish, but that 20 level, pretty strong zone of resistance closing below that level. Moving over to my accounts here, I finished pretty much unchanged, down just $100 there, so pretty much in line. I rolled down too aggressively into the sell. I thought we were going to kind of hold those lows, and I really was looking to get a sign because I thought this was going to continue to sell here, and then we did get that super aggressive move to the upside, which I was not really prepared for, so I did roll out to the Tuesday. So I was trying to be a little bit aggressive, but still was not all the way as strong as I probably should be. Looking at all the charts here, I think this will probably flip more bullish going into the Monday, Tuesday, but just based on all of the different charts here. So I'll probably look to take these calls off depending on how bullish we see markets being on the kind of Monday, Tuesday time frame. And then if those are pretty strong, then we might get continuation through the week. If we hit those zones of resistance and reject, of course, then we're going to look to take these positions off. But for right now, pretty bullish off of the close of today's session going into early next week. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the government shutdown. Is it ever going to end? Are they going to come to some kind of consensus on the Affordable Care Act? Let me know. Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video. Make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.